Hello everyone and welcome to the Next Level video game talk show for the month of May. There has been some really cool titles that I've wanted to talk about before with Days Gone and now the exciting release of Rage 2. So I brought in a couple people to help me do so. To my side here we have Caleb Hampton and of course Jacen Slack. How you both doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm always happy to be here. So the first one I want to talk about is Days Gone, because that one did drop in April.
Yep.
But first, I want to let everyone know that eventually I'm going to have to come for your title, Caleb. For those who don't know or can't tell, he is still the reigning champion of the Lakeside Thunder Brawl.
Oh, is that the? Is this who you do that?
Yeah.
I still have the belt.
It's been a while. I'm coming.
Okay.
So
Bring it out, Dad.
challenge is thrown down. Gauntlet. So Days Gone.
Yeah.
This one I feel like has been a roller coaster ride. When they first showed it off at E3 years ago, it was kind of lukewarm response. People were worried because it was coming out during The Last of Us.
Yeah.
And I feel like the ramp up before release, they changed quite a bit. Like, how did you feel? How did you feel about the game with that initial launch when they first talked about it?
At the initial launch, I honestly wasn't really all that excited. I think I was part of the lukewarm group, only because there had been almost like a saturated zombie market, if you will.
Right.
Like Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 obviously had been out forever, and those are really, really great. Some of my favorite, those are great games, and like with The Last of Us, I just didn't know if it was going to be different enough from all the other games to really make it playable or
Right.
worthwhile. But I enjoy it, I like it.
Yeah. So, I guess, what is the big changes that you've seen maybe from then to
From
for
the
now?
E3 trailer?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the biggest change that I noticed isn't exactly positive, which is a bummer because it is a good game and I do
Right.
like it. But the biggest change that I noticed actually was that a lot of the zombie models they only
freakers. We got to call them freakers.
Freakers.
Can't be
My
zombies.
apologies, not zombies, freakers. They only have there's only like 2 different models for the main ones.
Oh, really?
You have the newts and then you have the big guys who I don't know if you remember. I can't remember their
Breakers.
name. Breakers,
Yep.
which are like the big strong guys, which take like 4 clips to kill. Like they take a long time, and it looks kind of silly because it almost takes too much.
So is it the swarm? Is that what the normal
Horde.
Like just a
So it's
horde?
like a horde.
Okay.
So those are just, if you will, like the normal freakers that are just normal people, like one shot and like a headshot and all that kind of stuff. But in the E3 release trailer, they look like there's a lot of different models for them, and there's like 2.
Oh.
So, and there's like a male and female one. Like all the male freakers look the same, all the female freakers look the same.
Oh,
so that's kind of, it takes you out of it a little bit because they're all over the place, and you
Right.
see literally carbon copies of one chasing you. So that's
There's Joe again.
exactly.
Take it like ass.
Yeah.
So is that? Do you think it's because there is such a mass of freakers that show up for this stuff?
I mean, there's a clip that I have, and it's fighting the biggest horde in the game, actually, which I thought would be nice to have on
Yeah.
it. And it is a huge fight. It takes me about 20 minutes to beat it. It's a really, really big fight, and you have to actually plan everything out before you attack them, and then you have to kind of like trace them through your traps, if you will.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just because they probably not overhyped it, but maybe overpromised, because it's just so much to have rendered at one time.
Yeah.
That it couldn't really have that many different models and all that. So it's understandable.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just because there's so much going on at one time.
So and that's kind of that was like the big push, I think, when that first trailer came out, was there was, look how many freakers are out here in this horde. Like how does that feel like when you run across, because this can just happen anywhere, right?
It's the first time it happened, really, really overwhelming. I died right away. Didn't know how to fight them. It probably happened to you too. It happens. You have
times.
No idea how to handle it.
It's terrifying.
And it can happen, like you said, basically anywhere. There's been a couple times where I'm rolling around in a house just picking up like rags and bottles or something, random stuff laying around, and they break through a door and I die. Like they all come running in. You're like, oh my, you can't.
Do they just like dive through the window and just?
Yeah,
like,
they come in through the windows. They break down doors. It's pretty awesome.
That is
pretty
cool.
Yeah.
So one thing you started mentioning is that there's all these different types of I guess Freakers.
Freakers.
Tell me about some of those, because you're saying like there's a big one, there's
Yeah,
the
so
hordes.
there are, so far I've ran into, they have both human freakers, if you will, and then I don't know if they also call the animal freakers or if there's a different name for them. I didn't really catch it. They never really talked about that. But there are, if you will, freaker wolves, cougars, and bears, which are insane, and they're a lot quicker, and they take they're a lot more to take down. I do have a clip of a freaker bear, or if that's what it's called, or it's a rager. That's what it's called.
Okay.
I just remembered. Yep. A rager, and it throws you around like a rag doll if it catches you. It is insane. So there's that. There's a couple different animals, and then there's the newts, which is a little bit dark because it is, and they explain it is all the children that got infected.
I'm really curious about the newts because it's kids.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because it is a very violent game. I mean, the whole game is to kill all of these freakers, basically. I mean, there's a lot more behind it that has to do with other humans and stuff that aren't infected. But a main part of the game is dealing with all of these freakers, and a large portion of them are newts. And they tend to stay in little nests, and they actually don't bother you unless you go in there and kind of mess with them and stuff.
Now, did I hear that the newts only bother you if you have like lower health? Because they just kind of like pick at you?
Yeah, they'll like, if you're fighting, so say there was an instance where I was in a house and there was just a few other freakers in there, and there was one behind me I didn't see, and it hit me a few times, got my health down about halfway, then all the newts came out and started jumping on me and attacking me. So, and they're not that bad, it only takes usually one hit, or like one shot, or if you have like a baseball bat, it's like one hit and they're
smack
done.
those babies
you just smack the babies right off. It's not that hard.
If you have a baseball.
But it is, I don't know, they explain exactly what they are, and they say that it's all like the children that got infected, which, I mean, they're little, so it's easy to tell, but it is a little weird shooting little like little freaker kids. It seems, I don't know.
Do you think do you think it's too far to take it like that? Does it
I don't think so,
or?
because it's, I mean, honestly, it's probably not, I don't want to say realistic because you never know about a zombie apocalypse, all that, but if that does happen, there are always children around, so that's a thing. I mean, so I don't think it's too far. I think maybe could have gone without the explanation, because it does feel weird to take like a baseball bat full of nails and hit a kid in that, like, like that's not okay. But no, it is, they are a lot of fun. They'll kind of jump on your back, and you have like a little button mashing thing to flip them off your back and stuff like that. And they won't ever attack you one at a time. They'll kind of jump around, and then they'll all try to attack you at the same time. So it was one of the more startling games I think I've played, like jump scares and stuff like that, in a long time. So.
See, I think that dynamic between the different types seems really interesting.
Yeah.
If you've got the horde who just kind of, rushes in and kind of floods in a house like water, but then you have the newts that you have to treat completely differently. I think that's some of the stuff that's really cool.
We didn't touch on those. The breakers are just big old tanks. It's so hard to take them down, and when they hit you, you go flying. Like they're. So it almost reminds me of the on Left 4 Dead. The tanks from Left 4 Dead. I mean, they're not that size. Think of it like a little bit. I mean, it's just like a bigger dude. Like they're a little bit taller than you and a little bit bigger, but they're not. It's not to that proportion.
But this thing shows up, and it's like, we have a fight.
And there's a distinct noise, like they yell, and you can hear them yell and all that. Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome.
They're tough.
So the big part of this game too is that you're a biker gang, and was it Deacon St. John and his buddy?
Which is a sweet name, by the way. That name is such a good. It's like that's like the perfect action star name. It's awesome. Yeah.
But how do you feel about the perfect name of what's his name? Boozer. Yeah. He's a big dumb idiot that whole game. He really is. You can tell he means well, but he's big and stupid the whole time. But he's your best friend.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. Yep.
So, like, how does the biker gang thing come in there? Because obviously you got the motorcycle. And
they don't really talk on the gang so much, and I'm obviously trying to talk without any kind of spoilers. I don't want to give too much away. So there's not really a whole lot to explain on that. That won't give away some of the storyline spoilers and stuff. But they touch on a little bit, but I think the biggest thing is almost just like they talk about it in the sense of like a pride thing more than anything. Like why they
camaraderie.
Yeah. It's not so much. I mean, in the future, I could see them bringing it more into it, maybe because they did kind of. There's always a possibility for a sequel if it sells well enough, whatever. They can always
they'll find a way.
They'll find a way, and I think then they could really be able to dive into it, especially with the way that they lead towards the end of the main storyline and how they kind of work that into it a little bit. I think they could branch out on that in the next game.
Okay.
But you don't see much of the motorcycle gang stuff. Like you're wearing the
very motorcycle-y jacket.
The cut or the colors or whatever they call it. You're wearing that. And you actually do get hunted by that because you and Deacon St. John and Boozer are both in the same same gang, if you will, and they are known as I can't remember what they call
Mongrels.
Huh?
The mongrels?
That's what it's, the mongrels.
mongrels.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
and they're as far as we know, they're the only two left in that area. So all the other mercenaries or all the other little groups in that area know them as the mongrels. It's just the two of them that are left. So that's kind of, I mean, they're known as that throughout the game, but as far as everything else, they don't touch on it too much.
How is the moving around with the bike? Because the one thing I always hear from people is that the bike maybe doesn't control the best right away.
It took me so long to get used to it. I didn't get used to it until I was probably 3/4 of the way done with the game, which does make it interesting because I feel like I also wouldn't know how to ride a motorcycle. So I kind of like when I first, and I was trying to, and it just kind of turns weird, and I ran into so many trees and stuff, like random crap. And there is a freaker, it's a specific one. It's because there's one that's bald and it's like albino looking almost. It's like
bleacher.
a bleacher. It's like a stronger version of the normal one. And if you ride past them, you get too close, they'll actually dive at you and like knock you off your motorcycle, which is terrifying.
Yeah.
Because it always happens when you're just trying to get from point A to point B, not paying attention, going through the map, and they just hit you and like, holy crap, you gotta scramble to either fix your bike and get it back up and stuff. But
so that's kind of like a thing for the game too, right? Is that you upgrade your bike, you do maintenance, you're trying to go get gas and bring it back to it.
Yeah, and everything that you have to, you get your upgrades by getting your trust level at each camp. So there's actually 2 sections, which I thought I was almost done with the game, and then the whole bottom portion of did that happen to you too?
Yeah,
the whole top map, and it's huge, and it's there's so much stuff to do. And then I thought I was almost done with the game, and I was almost getting kind of bummed out, like, man, this isn't as long as I thought. And then they have you, and there's a whole nother section, like, oh, this is great, this is the best. But so you have to upgrade your trust, which you just get from doing missions, turning in bounties, which is actually the ears of the freakers that you kill.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and you don't have to like stop there and collect them like Red Dead, where it's really, really tedious. And you have to, you know what I mean? You don't have to. You just run past them and it picks them all up. But you turn all those in, you do missions and stuff like that, and then you increase your trust level with a max trust level of 3 at each one, and that's how you get your upgrades.
Cool.
So there's that. And the one thing that I actually didn't like, and I don't know if you noticed this either, but the gas doesn't make a whole lot of sense in the game.
Yeah,
how often you have to refill your motorcycle does not make sense.
Like you probably have like 10 holes and
I don't know. It's just
everywhere.
all right. So if you were to go from the very, very top of the map to the very, very bottom, both sections, it's like a 6-kilometer drive or something like that. Not that long, really. And you have to refill your bike like 3 times.
Oh, yeah, that's
so
too much.
and it's such a tiny detail that doesn't really make any sense. But I feel like if they were to just change the number to make it to where it's like a 400-kilometer something, because it would make more sense instead of running out of gas after.
Yeah, like change the
1 mile.
perception or change like the depletion or something.
Something.
So there's not just the freakers. There's obviously the people. There's was it like raiders? What are these other?
There is a few different. There's rippers, I think.
Rippers,
right?
yeah.
And they're
Rippers
these.
are the first ones.
That's actually, I think they're the first one.
Yeah, they're essentially they are. Yeah.
So and they are actually it's a group of people led by this guy named Carlos who. They actually worship the freakers and they want to be like them. So they all shave their heads and they like scar their faces and scar their bodies, and it's pretty brutal looking. It is insane. And they have like they have a specific weapon that they make up, like that old lawnmower with a blade that turns.
I have one of those actually.
Well, they take that thing and they attach it to a baseball bat, and that's their weapon. It is unreal. It is so freaky. It's so cool. It was probably one of my favorite enemy groups in the game are the Rippers. Cool. But there's that, and then there's like I can't remember what I don't know if they call them Marauders, or I think there's like a bandit group. Marauders, I think is one of them. There's a few different ones, but a lot of them are just what I like actually. Anarchists is another one. But you almost just kind of run into them as they're also out roaming around. It seems like everything's all going on at the same time. So if they have they have missions where you have to go and clear out this camp or something, and say it'll tell you there's 15 people in the camp, but you can only find 12 or 13 of them, because the other 2 are off on a run somewhere and they're not back yet. So it's like you either have to wait until they get back and ambush them, or you have to go out and find them, kind of thing. So it's kind of neat how everything's kind of working the same way, where there's people on runs for other camps that are just straight up AI, not players. So it is kind of, I like that, how that worked. It was pretty neat.
We talked about it in last month, we're just in Division 2 had this too, and I think it's so important for open world games that they need to have it be such an organic world and experience. Like these people need to do things on their own. So to hear that in Days Gone makes me very happy.
Yeah,
cool.
I was happy with that. I mean, you see, there's been too many open world games where the AI is just, they're stupid. UI, I'm sorry. It's just, they're dumb. They just kind of wander around, which I will say, they do not know how to find somebody if you're in bushes to save their life.
I've heard that's pretty rough.
For the most part, they get everything right and they kind of nail it. I really like how they do it. But you can easily take out a whole camp stealth without anybody finding it. You can just hide behind a tree and sit there for a second, and then they look around and they walk back to whatever they were doing.
Where'd he go?
Like 3 of his friends laying down dead. He's like, I don't know where they went. Let's just go back to what we were doing.
So that's kind of the last thing I want to ask you about too, is that I've heard that this game is way more stealthy than one would have thought, because obviously we're talking about zombie hordes and shooting stuff and killing stuff and driving your bike everywhere, and it's like, no, there's a lot of stealth.
There is a lot of there's a lot more stealth than what I was expecting, and I'm not great with stealth games. I think it's fun, and which is funny saying that Assassin's Creed is literally my favorite franchise, and I'm not good with stealth, but yeah, there was a lot more than what I expected. I mean, there is a fair share of explosions and stuff, so you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, a lot more stealthy. There's quite a few missions where you have to be stealth. Like there's helicopters that come in, and it's Nero is what it's called, National Emergency
Response Organization.
Something like
I
that.
bet you that's actually what it is. I think that's actually what it is. But so you have to kind of sneak around and find out what they're doing, and that progresses the main storyline as you learn more about, because they're like doing tests on them and all that kind of stuff. So you have to kind of sneak around, and you actually work with one of them, which is pretty neat to do that, to kind of work with. But you actually can't attack any of them. They have body armor on, so you can't kill any of them. So as soon as you get busted, you guys are like, all right, you got me, and then you have to restart, which happened to me all the time. All the time.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, so that one's by Sony Bend, which makes me excited because they made Siphon Filter.
Oh, yes.
And, please make another Siphon Filter.
That's what I always thought this was going to be, is like a test to see
Maybe.
if they
could do it.
That'd be great.
Because, I mean, Siphon Filter, come on. We need more Gabe Logan.
It's a dead ringer. Let's do it. I'll be Gabriel Logan. Let's go. Anton Cardew.
You know what, one of the best things, one of my favorite things for Siphon Filter was? The taser, where that
the taser is
you
sweet.
can
Hands down.
Boop, and like no burn.
Sweet.
So Rage 2 came out. Andrew WK is on the stage. He's going nuts. We're having a great time. The game looks killer. So I'm excited to play this one. I haven't gotten a chance to try it, so I really want to talk to you about it. But at first, I want to ask you about if you've ever played Rage 1.
I have. I beat Rage 1.
Okay.
I played it all the way through.
How did you think? How did you like the first one?
I liked the first one. I liked it a lot. I did. The ending was kind of like, to me, the ending was just, I didn't like it because I did all this throughout this whole thing. We did all this stuff. We built up all this, going through all this big world, and then all of a sudden you get to the end, it's like boop, and you're like, oh, I did all this for nothing. But otherwise, I love the game. I mean, John Goodman's in the first one.
That's always a plus.
I mean, that's always a plus. Come on, it's John Goodman, you know. But no, I loved it because I love the open world. I love post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah.
So otherwise, no, I love the game. It's just the ending was just a little kind of dull.
Because I think with the first game, people were like, oh, it's going to be kind of like Fallout open world style, and it kind of became more like, no, the open world's for you to get somewhere and then play Doom.
Essentially. I liked in Rage is that you can iron sight, but you also were able to shoot, just hip fire.
Yeah,
and
it was actually better.
It was still accurate, and it was
designed.
They designed it like that, which was kind of cool.
So from the first one, does it feel like the first one's maybe a little bit more of like a stepping stone to where we're at with 2?
Yes.
Okay.
Very much so.
Yeah.
2 it seemed like they opened the doors with the first one. They juggled some stuff, and they added more in number 2. They still have the same mechanics for the shooting and everything, and it actually takes place 50 years later, 50 years after Rage.
So give me the wide picture. What is Rage 2 for everyone who doesn't know?
Rage 2 is essentially this post-apocalyptic. You're in a post-apocalyptic world. An asteroid hits the world and essentially decimates the whole world.
Okay.
And people are. It's essentially the last of mankind are put in arcs, is what they call them, and then they're released, and the last surviving come out. And in Rage 2, you're living in this community, and essentially your name is Walker, and you're the last of what they call Rangers. And
those are the people who came out of the arcs?
They're people that came out of the arcs, and they wear kind of like armor, kind of like from Doom.
Okay.
They have armor, and they're super powered and everything like that. Originally, you're not even one. You kind of pick up an armor from a dead ranger, and you become that ranger. Gotcha. But yeah, his name is Walker, and like I said, you're essentially fighting this organization. I can't even remember the name now. I feel so bad, but no.
That's all right.
No, I can't remember this villain, but he's from the first game.
Okay.
You find out obviously that he's come back and he wants to take over everything, and he's trying to destroy it all. He's trying to rule essentially in his own, and he's like kind of half robotic and stuff. It's crazy.
That sounds pretty sweet.
Of course. But he's pretty brutal and everything. But yeah, it's a really great game. It's more linear than Rage.
Okay.
Which it's okay. I think it works great, just the way it is. Like, it's still open world. The open world aspect is still there, but it's just, at least as of right now, it's still more linear. They want you to probably train
kind of
you.
funneling you
funnel you into it, and then they're probably going to let you bust out. But
so, with a lot of stuff that I've heard about it, because it is kind of two different studios
Yes.
who've cultivated this game. You have id Software, who is known for Doom and shooting and just awesome action, and then you have
Avalanche.
Avalanche, thank you.
Fantastic.
Avalanche, who does Just Cause and Mad Max.
Yes.
So it's almost like Avalanche did the open world and id did the shooting and action.
That's what makes it great, is because you still have id, so you have the shooting mechanics. Like I said, you still have the shooting mechanics from 1, which were good, but
Superb,
they beefed it up. They beefed it up with the weapons you use, and then your vehicles. I've got one vehicle so far, and it's like this tank, and you're driving around. You got machine guns and everything. You can get missiles, and that's the cool thing about it is you build up and you have to unlock all the missiles, so you're still pretty like low powered, and you got to take on all these big stuff, and you got to work up to it. But I think they did a great job bringing Avalanche in, because Avalanche knows open world games.
Yeah.
Like Just Cause, like you're saying, and Mad Max especially. Mad Max was a great game.
I love Mad Max. It was awesome.
Oh yeah.
And it's a good fit for going into Rage.
Yeah,
it really is, because they're more or
that.
less the same kind of game to an extent.
Yeah,
'cause they're
car
both-
combat,
yeah,
post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, the car combat is a little bit different in Mad Max, but it's still the same. But like I said, you get machine guns and everything, and it's really cool. And you get nitrous and jumps, and yeah, it's really cool roaming around. And it's not so barren in Rage 2, which is nice. There's actually lush environments. You get to see grassy areas, forests and stuff.
It's not all brown.
Not all brown.
brown.
It's not all brown.
But it's kind of cool, because you're like, oh, so there's still some life kind of left into this world.
Okay.
Even though you're in Rage, you're like, oh,
I
so
remember
there's nothing
I
here.
remember playing
Everything's
Rage
just
and
destroyed.
Everything was brown.
Yeah.
Like, it was a good game. Every single thing was brown.
It was very pretty, but it was very brown.
It was
They
very
do
brown.
have some of the original locations from the first game too, which like Wellspring, which is cool.
Oh, cool.
And I think it's John Goodman's character. I can't think of his name right now. The character's name.
Dan
but-
Connor. Well,
Yeah. Him. But his daughter essentially takes over Wellspring.
Okay.
Essentially,
alright, cool.
It's kind of cool.
So the big thing for me when I saw Rage 2 was that I'm a sucker for I like Call of Duty Advanced
Yep.
Warfare. I think that's the one with Kevin Spacey in it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
Yep.
I think that the dashing around is really cool. I think like Splatoon 2 got it when they added wow, it's my favorite gun in the game, and I can't even think of it. Splat Dualies. So when they added the Splat Dualies, they also had like this side dashing and stuff. And I think that movement and momentum on stuff, and in games like Titanfall, just feels so good.
Bulletstorm did it too really
Yeah,
well.
Bulletstorm is a
that.
great one too.
They have that in Rage 2.
Yeah, and so that's what I saw for Rage
Yep.
2, and I thought, okay, this is going to be cool. And then they added all these abilities.
Yeah,
Tell me
yep.
about that stuff, because that sounds really awesome.
Yeah, the ability is like, you got this, it's a huge tree. You go in, you start upgrading, and you got to find, it's not just like you go and level up like normally you do, like in Call of Duty, it's just you shoot people, you level up. It's not like that. It's you actually have to go find these arcs, and there's like the last remaining arcs, and that's what powers you up and gives you the ability, your points.
That's kind of cool.
But like you have dash, and then you have this. It's kind of like a thing that you shoot through your hand. You just like hit somebody, like they'll blow. You'll blow them back and stuff.
Like a force push.
Yeah, essentially like a force push from Star Wars, if you will. But yeah, no, it's great. There's so many stuff you can do, and you can power up. So like I think in the end game, they're gonna add it to where you're just so massively powerful where you're gonna decimate everything.
That's what it should be. That
Which
sounds
is
Yeah,
cool
boy, that'd be so
because
much
they're
fun.
building up to that. Because like I said, I still have so much more to unlock, but there's so many more abilities you can, and there's like it's one of those abilities too. It's kind of like in Dragon Age, where you have active ones, and then you have to add ones that you wanna. You have little.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. You have little ones you choose from, so you got to choose wisely, and you can switch them around still, but so it gives you a vary of gameplay, which is nice. Yeah.
So like an active one would be, you would, I don't know, I'm just making something up, like
that.
Well, there's like, your active abilities, but then there's like things where like, you have like X percentage better in regenning health.
Yep.
Passive
Yeah, exactly.
abilities
They got passive abilities like that, so that's always
Passive,
connected to you. Yeah, passive. Yep.
Yeah.
So that's what I like about it, because then you can play with different abilities and see what you like the best, and they've got a good selection of guns. They even have the BFG.
Really?
Yes, they've
the
got
Doom
the
BFG.
I haven't unlocked it yet, but I'm working up to it because I want that.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
who
they've got the Doom BFG.
Who wouldn't want that? Yeah, that's great.
So I'm assuming you're going to decimate everything with
Absolutely.
that. But yeah, so like I said, I've only unlocked one vehicle so far, but you can take any vehicle in the game too, which is cool. Like
that's
you can go to these camps, and there's camps that you clear out, and they're hard. I've died multiple times just because I'm not leveled up, like I'm not extremely powerful yet, and they're coming from you all over, the distance, and I find myself not iron sighting as much. I find myself just hip firing.
Yeah.
Because it works so well. So
Throwing some wing sticks.
Oh yeah, those. I love the wing sticks too. The wing sticks are great. You just throw it, just cuts people's heads off and stuff.
Yeah.
I know it's.
That sounds good. That sounds.
It is, and then you got grenades. You throw grenades and stuff too, and you can cook the grenades, and I've blown myself up. But yeah, no. But then once you go in there, you can take their vehicles and just drive away with them.
That's cool.
So
I like that there's areas in the game that if you go to it, you're not ready for it. Like I think that's kind of been missing in a lot of games where it's just like, no, you can't go here. Yeah. You're definitely gonna lose.
You can go there, but you'll die. You won't be able to stand a chance. I kind of like that because there's a lot of games in the past where they just lock you out of the area. You can't go there. But like I like being able to go in there. Like I mean, if you want to go in there, go.
Like you could maybe if you're the best, you could get out of this alive.
You could go. Yeah, they have that. And you're still you got different communities you got to visit. Like I said, so you're trying to reactivate this program that was originally started for this corporation that's trying to take over. They had like all these people that are teaming up. It's like a council.
Okay.
So you're essentially going around to all these different villages and gathering them together to reactivate this program because you're the last ranger. Everybody thinks that the rangers are done.
Now, is it like the objective is kind of just like make Earth great again?
Essentially,
I felt bad I said it like that.
Essentially, yeah, you're trying to, like I said, you're trying to get rid of this evil organization that's trying to take over everything, and you're kind of trying to, regrow and rebuild the world.
Okay.
And you're adopted, so you got the sister who mother kind of dies, and it's like, but it's kind of cool because it's not one of those ones, you're this guy and I'm mad at you because my mom died, so I hate you. No, she's like, cool.
Let's do this.
Well, because she's like, I've always wanted to be in this armor, and it's like, but you're in it. Cool, I'll help you.
Oh, well, that's nice.
It's
There's not
cool.
a lot of bitterness for a change.
That's what I like about it. It's like most games, it's like, well, I wanted to be that, so
I have to go
In
fight
most
my
games,
sister.
that person would have been the bad guy.
Yeah, it's like
the person that can't get what you
Yep.
have in the
It's
game.
like,
Whatever
screw
they end up
you,
being
you
a
know?
bad guy.
That's like, I just got done playing a different game in a suit. And that is what happens.
But no, it's really cool as a ranger because you walk into a place and they're kind of like, oh, hey, ranger, what's up? Like, because you're the last of the ranger, and everybody's like, dude, but this person's dead, and he's like, no, well, I'm kind of new, and it's kind of cool because you were never trained to be a ranger, so you're still getting used to your suit, and you're still getting.
But like
used to,
the sight of a ranger is like,
yeah,
people are excited.
Everybody, it's like it brings back hope again because they're like, dude, we actually have somebody can fight against this organization.
That's cool. That's really awesome. So okay, both these games I think have a looming shadow over them in a sense. So we've got Days Gone, but then of course Sony is also putting out The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Do you think Days Gone still stands apart from The Last of Us?
I still think it stands apart, only because when with The Last of Us, at least with the first one, I'm sure with the second one as well, it is so story driven.
Yeah.
More so than anything. I mean, the gameplay is fantastic in the first one.
But the story is.
But the story is just top notch. It was unreal. And although the story of Days Gone is good, and I did really enjoy it, it didn't seem like they had as much into it.
Okay.
I feel like they put a lot more into the just into the gameplay more so than they put into the story and everything in it. So I do think there's enough to kind of set it aside because the gameplay is vastly different from it.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it kind of holds its own, and I think I would like to see another one eventually if they're able to do it. You know, fix little bugs and tweaks here and there.
Yeah.
I felt more emotionally attached with Last of Us.
Oh,
than
absolutely.
Oh,
Days
absolutely.
Gone.
Man, that game made me cry almost.
Yeah.
Like, oh man.
The first 10 minutes of that game are so powerful.
Yeah.
Not to mention Troy Baker's my favorite voice actor. You know,
He is
he's great. You know,
It's like Troy Baker,
Him and
James
Nolan
Arnold
North.
Taylor.
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
I would just like to see them fix some of like the little stuff, and it very well could be my PlayStation because it's the first one that came out and it runs like a lawnmower. It's really loud, but it bugged out a lot and it crashed a lot, and I mean it's just. But I feel like with a game that size, it's just gonna happen.
the frame rate's really low if you don't have a PS4
I didn't know if
Pro.
that was just mine.
No, it's
you have
a
a Pro?
I don't, but I heard that the Pro is just
Gotcha.
it's better.
So for Rage 2, there's this game called Doom Eternal
Yes.
that's coming out. Do you think Rage feels good enough to stand on its own as well? Because I feel like they're different enough.
They're different enough. So yeah, Rage 2 it can stand on its own because, like I said, in Doom, Doom is really more linear, way more linear than because you know Doom you're on
Go
this
forward,
path,
kill
go
demons.
for it and kill demons. Whereas Rage, it's like okay, I'm just gonna venture off over here and do my own thing right now and take on a bunch of different enemies and stuff like that.
Okay.
So, but yeah, so I think it can hold its own. Even though a lot of people really don't know about Rage 2 because I talk about it, at work and everybody's like, "What's that?" I'm like, "Really?"
Yeah, I feel bad it kind of got swept
it's
under a little bit.
Yeah, because
And we're about to get into the big swing of E3 and tons of other releases for the summer. So
oh yeah,
I think Rage 2 is going to be a sleeper hit, though. It looks great.
it's good. It's a great game. I'm enjoying it so far. But like I said, I love the first one. So
Yeah.
and it's one of those just underrated games, I think, to some people. So
Absolutely.
But if you like shooters and you like open world, it's
There it is.
perfect.
Probably gonna like it then. 'Cause
Oh,
that's the
yeah,
two
it's-
things that I like. That's good.
I'm a sucker for collector's edition. I bought the collector's edition of that
nice.
too. So and Days Gone, but
Very cool.
yeah.
Well, thank you both for coming and chatting with
Yeah,
us about
I
these
love
games.
it.
I haven't got a chance to try any of them, so I'm super stoked, even more so after
Right.
all this.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And if you want to see or hear more, anything about that we've got going on here at The Next Level, you can check out tnlvl.blogspot.com. That'll have the list for the podcast that we do once a week and tons of other videos that we have done here. And I just want to thank everyone for helping us out here, and we'll see you on The Next Level.